So these 3 days are very significant on the Vaishnava calendar, and also to all the members of Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, meaning yesterday the disappearance of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit, and as we spoke about this off camera, but Saraswati Thakur in his concluding words in Madhya Lila Charitamritam saying, if I look very deeply at my Guru, as Guru Maharaj says in Sri Guru and His Grace, how you see Guru is according to the capacity of the disciple. What is their capacity to see Guru? The depth of Guruta that they can see. So he said, when I look very deeply, and that means Saraswati Thakur, with his vision, saying, I see Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said, ultimately, who's his, substantially his guru in the ultimate sense. He's saying, I see the Astanayikas, the Astasakis to Radharani herself, the full manifestation of Guru ultimately. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in one of his songs, the Ujjvala Rasa Acharya, Srimati Radharani, the supreme servitor, the supreme worshipper. As Krishna is the supreme worshipped, she's the supreme worshipper. And it's Krishna, he got the impression in their mutual exchange that although he's Rasaraj, Akila Rasamrita Murti, he's ecstasy personified. Anandam Brahmano Vidban, Anandamayo Vyasat. He is full and complete in himself. As people say, if Krishna, why is Krishna seeking loving exchange with devotees if he is complete in himself and full? Because it's not like our position where we're in a state of unfulfillment and we're trying to achieve a position of fulfillment. No, as Guru Maharaj said, quoting, Om Purnamadak Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachate Purnasham Purnameva Vasishyate. 0 plus 0 equals 0. Krishna is already full. 0 minus 0, 0. A million zeros is 0. A million expansions of Krishna, if they all, Avatar, Sar, Gaurava, if they all come in him, same. It doesn't change his position. 0 divided by Krishna, 0 multiplied by 0 equals 0. Like that. He's saying this can help us understand his mystical position. So he tells Arjuna, Paschime Yoga Maishwaryam. When he's showing Virat Rupa to Arjuna, and Arjuna is astonished to see that. Saying, what is the need for all of this? Ekang stenastito jagat, with an angsa of myself, this is all going on. Whatever you conceive of the infinite, that's an atom of finite to me. And also, interestingly, Arjuna, Taneva Rupena Chatur Bhujena. After that Virata Rupa, then the four-armed, as Arjuna's, he is astonished to the point of bewilderment and little too much Gaurava, awe-inspiring, troublesome, practically. To four-armed, then at last, when he reaches two arms, what does it say? Somya Rupa, his beautiful form, reality of the beautiful. Then Arjuna becomes calm. And Krishna says, it is this beautiful form, this Somya Rupa, Arjuna, This is the ultimate form that the greatest saints, devotees are aspiring to see. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santak sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti yang shyama sundarama chintraguna swarupam. It will be out of the range of the yogis because why? Premanjana, prem. Krishna can only be seen that way with loving eyes, eyes full of love, full of Krishna prem. Back to Radharani, the source of all Krishna prem. Right? So Krishna, in their mutual exchange, is thinking, what she is experiencing is greater than what I experience. And I wonder what it is like to be her seeing me. What is it that she sees when she sees me? What is it she sees in me, and how does she see me? And what this ecstasy she's experiencing, what is that like? And what is that taste, what she's tasting, what does that taste like? Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayeva Shadroyena Adbhuta Madhurima Kidrisham Beti Sokyam Chasha Maranubhavata Kidrisham Beti Lobhat Tadbhavadya Satchigar Sindo Harindu. For these three reasons he descended as Mahaprabhu. What did Guru Maharaj say? Guru Rupa Harim Gauram Radha Ruchi Ruchavritam. When he takes the Guru Rupa, Radha Ruchi Rucha, covered in the heart and halo of Radharani. So when Saraswati Thakur says, I look very deeply at Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I see Radharani. And I see Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj as Swarup Damodar, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Gadadhar Pandit, so that they both left the world on the Amavasya is significant. And this Gurudev observing, celebrating Ratha-yatra once in Calcutta, went to the Koi Kali Mat. And he mentioned in this one time that we will see on the calendar, it says Jagannatha Ratha-yatra, and it also says disappearance of Swarup Damodar. So there's no information really about disappearance of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, that sort of thing not given when they withdrew their manifest pastimes. But Gurudev said very presciently and with great thought, care, attention, that he said, if Swarup Damodar disappeared on the Ratha-yatra day, so then we can understand, as is described in Antya Lila of Charitamrita, so many times from the Gambhir, where there's no windows and only a door with a guard at the door, and they hear the wail, when Mahaprabhu, Svaviraha, experiencing that separation from himself, the depths of Srimati Radharani's separation, Radha Bhavadyuti Subalita, they can hear this piteous wailing inside and rubbing his lotus face against the wall to the point of bleeding, damaging himself. But sometimes when it becomes quiet, they're not relieved because the wailing stopped. They're wondering, as you recall, the 10th stage of separation is death. Has he withdrawn from the world? So then they open the doors, and then they don't find him. Right? Who's so large, there's no windows, and the door has a guard. He's no longer in the room. And then Swarup Damodar leads a search party by torchlight. They go to Chatak Parbat, where Mahaprabhu's Brahm, his Brahma Pramada Vipralipshikar, his illusion in seeing things is a Yogamayic illusion. He sees the sand dune as Govardhan. He sees the ocean as Jamuna. So many times he's jumped into the ocean, taking it to be Jamuna, and he's deeply submerged there for so many hours. So many times Swarup Damodar is finding him, as described in the Antya Lila. But Gurudev said, but this morning, this one Ratha-yatra, he did not find him. And that's Swarup Damodar, who cannot live for a moment without Mahaprabhu and his connection, left the world. So he expressed this in that way at that time. Why disappearance on Ratha-yatra day? It's very peculiar. So, but when today is the Gundicha Marjan, and we know from the couple weeks back, the Shnan Yatra, that Jagannatha, after this famous bathing, he contracts a cold somehow, he's in seclusion. So for those who are lovers of Krishna, the Krishna-loving public, as Saraswati Thakur said, and Jagannath, it's very intolerable for the devotees not to see him, not to have darshan for this fortnight, practically. But then you, as a preface to this pastime in this part of Charitamritam, interestingly, it begins with Pratap Parudra Maharaj seeking the darshan of Mahaprabhu. And unfortunately, from an external point of view, at the time, and as the custom of the day, he's a king. And it will generally, sannyasis are not meeting with kings. That's considered a fault. So by his external position, it's an impediment to his meeting with Mahaprabhu. So the king's telling Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who's approaching others, like, if you could intervene on my behalf and arrange for darshan of Mahaprabhu. And if you think about this, here's this great devotee of Mahaprabhu who has so much love for Krishna, Mahaprabhu, etc. Mahaprabhu's in the same place, but you can't go. How intolerable that would be for such a devotee. Right? To know Mahaprabhu, I mean, we have no devotion, but if we heard Mahaprabhu is nearby, but we can't go for some reason, it will have a devastating effect. But even devastating effects in Krishna consciousness are full of, they're wealth-giving, because that will plunge the heart into a great panic and agony of separation. To be that close, to be so distant, in a sense, is preferable, because you can understand the situation. To be that close and be unable to meet is intolerable. So Pratap, he's begging the devotees to somehow arrange this. And they know this is very unlikely to happen. So they're thinking what to do, and then they all meet. It's very sweet, the devotees, and Nityananda Prabhu, and they're thinking, maybe if we just praise the king, but don't push it. You know, we just say the king, how much devotion he has in this way, and maybe that'll soften Mahaprabhu's heart and something will come from it. And they're going, yeah, that's a good plan. That's the plan. We'll just praise the good qualities of the king, but we won't say anything about a meeting. Yeah, all right. They all go in and they're there like, They see Mahaprabhu and they can't say anything. And Mahaprabhu says, I can see that it seems like you want to say something, but you're not saying anything. Like, and Nityananda Prabhu, you think, Nityananda, Ramananda, they're saying, actually at that time, Nityananda Prabhu, they're trying to say things in favor, and Mahaprabhu is saying, oh, I can understand you want me to meet with him. But you understand how that's complicated. And he talks about his position as a sannyasi, a black spot on a white sheet, how prominent it becomes. And Nityananda said, no, you're, the para, svatantra to the extreme, the ultimate, it says in the Bhagavatam, you're swarat, you're totally independent. You can do as you wish. You're not bound by, and it's funny to hear this coming from Nityananda Prabhu, the avadut. He's telling Mahaprabhu, you don't have to follow any of these things. Mahaprabhu, yes, but that could lead people to ruination. Anyway, they discuss so many different things, and they think, well, Nityananda, it's also beautiful if you consider he's Ananta, he's the paraphernalia, he's everything, and says, maybe if you gave some of your cloth, that he could get your connection that way, and Mahaprabhu agrees to that. And then they think they can't give the paraphernalia of Mahaprabhu, which he accepts as Mahaprabhu, and that's happy for him, but not, it's just making his desire even greater. Then Ramananda comes, and we hear Ramananda, because of his position previously, he's more of a diplomat, understands diplomatic. Remember, he's also Vishaka Saki, who understands diplomacy. So it's just perfect. Ramananda is a little more diplomatic than the other group members. And he's saying, the king's threatening to give up the world. And in their context become, what does it say? A Kapalik yogi. Like he's going to give up his kingdom and go wandering if he doesn't have your darshan. And Ramananda is thinking of some other way that this could possibly happen. And then Mahaprabhu, interesting, he's quoting the Bhagavatam in regard to Ramaharshan Sutta. And he said, it's sad, because remember, Balaram just killed Ramaharshana for his offense. And then they're thinking what to do. And they said, well, the sons consider the, what do they say, the abhijayate, the representative, it's like the father reincarnate in a sense. So if you give the son the position, it's sometimes equal to giving the father the position. So allow his son to come for darshan. And then when the boy comes, he's so beautiful, and he looks, his look is such, and his beauty is such, that Mahaprabhu says, anyone who sees him will remember Krishna. He's that extraordinary. Right? And Mahaprabhu likes him very much, embraces the boy goes back to the king, embraces his father, and it's as if he's being embraced by Mahaprabhu. But that's satisfying to a certain degree, but making his desire all the more intense to meet with Mahaprabhu. But it's so beautiful that they're so near, And we can think of so many solutions to this problem from our position. Well, they could do this and that. But it's not like that. This is lila, a prakrita lila, pastimes. And it's meant to take the heart to a deeper level of love and affection and greater magnitude of intensity. We know ultimately when Mahaprabhu in his dancing in Ratha-yatra from exhaustion enters, what is it? Jagannatha Ballava garden or other garden? But there, Prataparudra Maharaj finally, in a humble dress, not the Rajvesh of a king, but the just humble, ordinary dress, he entered where Mahaprabhu is lying exhausted, needs someone to like massage his lotus feet and legs, and he shows up to do that seva, and he starts singing the Gopi Gita. Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kavibir iditam kalmasha apaham sravanam mangalam srimadattatam bhuvi granantite bhurida jana. Saying those who tell us about Krishna, they're really giving you something. Now we can understand something about that. Who brings you the news about Krishna? There's no more better messenger in the world, a greater philanthropist. There's nothing better you can do for somebody other than introduce them to Krishna. Agreed? Show of hands. Right. Really, we know that. Now we can. I remember when we're in. Where's the place where there's this big lake? In Russia? I mean, there are many places. Nope. It's a. Oh, why can't I remember? Nope. Nope. Anyway, I'll think of it. It's a huge lake. No, it's a lake. I'll try and think of it. But we were there staying at... No, it's a lake. Petrozavodsk. Got it. Oh, it has different names?
It's like two lakes merging.
Oh, okay.
The White Sea, actually.
Okay, all right.
Northern Sea.
Well, there you go. Shows how little I know about Russian tattva. Ruski tattva.
That's the Gulag.
Oh, the archipelago. All right.
Well, I mean, you reach there by water.
Okay, so we were there, Petrozavodsk, that's the place.
By the way, that's where the remote monasteries, and on them,
Mm-hmm.
wooden churches made with no nails, like totally wooden,
Oh.
very beautiful.
Yes.
Now they're in eco-digests of the worldwide.
So there, we're having these programs at this devotee. We're staying like in his sister's room or something, and she's kind of like going along with everything, but she sees night after night, we're talking about Krishna, Mahaprabhu, this, and she was saying like, why don't you, if you really want to help people, why don't you like go outside and distribute some food or something? But every night you sit here like talking about Krishna. So I could understand, she didn't understand the value of Harikatha, that it's, you know, Tavakatamitam Tapta, life-giving, life-saving nectar. Just to eat some more food and go on with the death march in the land of mortality is not a glorious activity. Anyway, when he chants that verse of Gopi Gita, Mahaprabhu jumps up and he's saying, what you've given me, this is Krishna who made all of this in the Radha. He's saying, what you just gave me, I can't possibly repay you for that. So I embrace, that's when he embraces Prataparudra Maharaj. To the degree that one understands or does not understand this pastime, indicates something. Gurudev liked to say, when Vyas makes the slokas, and they begin, Janmad Yasya Yaton, he said, like the dance of elephants. Janmad Yasya Yaton Vayad Itaratas Cha Arteshu Bigyaswarat. He said, like a thrill, but you don't want to come too close. It's dancing elephants. He said, but when he goes into the Gopi Gita, Tavakatam ritam tapta jivinam kavibir iditam kalmasa apaham sravanamanglatam srimadatadam bhuvi grananti te buridajana. He said, like the dance of peacocks. Very beautiful, when Veda Vyas has the gopis expressing things. So, and this is so powerful that one person, I'll just say it this way, one bogus person came to Gurudev, but he knew how to sing this, and Gurudev initiated him, and then later he told me, he goes, no, I really shouldn't have done that. He goes, but he sang the Gopi Gita. You know? So the guy's like totally bogus, but when he sang the Gopi Gita, just my heart melted. You know? And he said, and I thought, all right, he's a Sanskritian, he can chant Gopi Gita, that'll be good for the prestige. But now I see he's Puggle, and it was a mistake. He's the one who, after he got Harinam, he told, go chant your 4 rounds in the Nat Mandir, sat on Gurudev's Vyasasan to chant his 4 rounds. I used to say, Krishna says, you know, Diksha Kale Bhakta Kore Atma Samarpa, they become equal to me. Not necessarily an invitation to stand on the altar, as Mahaprabhu does. Guru Maharaj used to say, Nityananda would sometimes see Krishna and Balarama in the altar and say, come down, your time is gone. Now the time has come for my Lord, Gauranga. So, that Mahaprabhu informs the king and Kashi Misra and all the others that he would like to clean the Gundicha Mandir. And they're thinking, this is not a fit seva for you, but as it is your divine desire, we will accommodate that. And Mahaprabhu takes all the devotees there. Remember, why Gundicha is the representation of Vrindavan. So the Ratha-yatra is going to go from Dwaraka. Puri's the Dwaraka represent. He's going to go from Dwaraka to Gundicha, Vrindavan. But that temple, it has to be prepared. This is very significant. It's mentioned by Vishwanath Chakrabarti. Baladev, Balaram, when he appears, first remember, he appears in the womb of Yashoda. He's transferred later to Rohini. Why did Vishwanath say, why does he first appear in Yashoda? To get everything ready for Krishna's appearance. Shingasan, he's Ananta in his capacity. After Balaram, he leaves his Ananta expansion behind. So there's this inconceivably beautiful Shingasan throne. It's in the heart, the core consciousness of Yashoda, for Krishna to appear. So Mahaprabhu here, he wants to cleanse the Gundicha to make it fit for Krishna's appearance. And the symbolic significance being how the heart has to be prepared for Krishna's appearance. And how does he do this? By first, we're told, they sweep the gross things away with broom. Right? Then once that's done, they go back for a second time to clean the finer stuff. Like, it's very, in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, the gross things are more obvious. And then we understand you have to part with that. But then the second cleansing process becomes the more subtle things, kuti, nati, etc., that described by Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami. Subtler impurity, anartha. Remember, Guru Maharaj says, artha translates as meaning. Anartha means, from another perspective, misconception, the wrong idea. So we have the wrong idea about what Krishna consciousness is, or what is Guru, what is a devotee, what is deity, everything has to be reconceived. Reconceptualization, as Guru Maharaj says, acquiring the proper angle of vision, that's a lifelong project for a spiritual practitioner. It's not saying, oh, I did that. No. It's, we aspire to that. Cheto darpana marjanam. How are you going to clearly reflect upon things unless there a certain amount of cleansing has taken place? Cleansing of the consciousness. Now, remember, even interestingly, that when they are doing Gita promotion, and they quote, Thoreau, Emerson, and all these different people who appreciated it, what did Thoreau say, the American transcendentalist? Or Emerson, one of the two of them, I think Thoreau, he said, in the morning I bathe my mind in the stupendous cosmogonal glory of Bhagavad Gita, in comparison with which our modern literature seems puny and trivial. So he's saying, every morning I bathe my intellect with the Bhagavad Gita. It's a daily cleansing process. What did Saraswati Thakur say? Beat your mind with a broom when you wake up. And Guru Maharaj, the way he said it, and actually his voice was quivering, practically, he said, what have I done? Talking about the day before. Wasting my life, wasting my time. Please, today, let me do something of value and service to Guru and Vaishnav. So Saraswati Thakur was saying, beat the mind with a broom 100 times upon rising, and that's when he said, and then do what? Saying, Amara Jivana, Sada Pape Durata. This is the Bhakti Vinod, the confessional song, this is my life. There's no sinful activity I haven't committed thousands of times. These are the sort of expression that come out of Bhakti Vinod Thakur when he is taking our position. So Saraswati Thakur is saying, that's when you sing that, when you wake up saying that, and say, let me not waste another day. Right? Where there's no Vaishnava Seva, Hari Katha, right? Dedication. Gurudev said, you can do spiritual practices anywhere, but you don't get Seva anywhere. So when Seva comes to you, you fight for that and fight to keep that. Right? Once he was saying, if there was a fight over his succession, or whatever, to the point of blood, to the point of death, he said, that's worth fighting for. Yes, it's worth it. When after Saraswati Thakur's disappearance and there was some discord, Gaurimat, and some men were killed, someone came to Guru Maharaj and said, oh Maharaj, the sadhus killing one another, we cannot tolerate. And Guru Maharaj said, do you worship Ramachandra? Yes. He said, killer. Do you worship Shiva? Yes. Killer. You worship Vishnu? Yeah. Killer. You worship Krishna? Yeah. Killer. All whom you worship are killers. He said, so let us understand what is killing and what is not killing. Nahanti nan hatvapi sa imalokan nahanti nani badyate. There is a plane where even in killing, one is not killing. We say that without fear, without hesitation, because it's qualified. There's a plane. What is that plane? Not that every madman will say, oh, I'm in that, I've achieved that plane. No, not like that. But that doesn't dismiss the fact that there is a plane like that. And Guru Maharaj said, what does fear of killing? He said, destroying the whole world. And then he added to it, and in that world, right, there's so many sadhus, cows, and other things too, all getting destroyed. And there's no reaction for that. What is that plane? Reality is for itself, by itself. Krishna, the supreme, absolute, the absolute. Krishna Icha, the will of Krishna. Whether or not it is the will of Krishna has to be established. Once in Italy with Gurudev, this man, like a private talk with him, I just happened to be there. And he's telling Gurudev that Gurudev has misunderstood something. And Maharaj will say something, and I'm like, no, Maharaj, no, not like, that's not true, no. And it goes back, and then finally Gurudev says, you are telling Father Krishna, but I am thinking it is Ma Kali. No, Maharaj, it's not. He goes, you're saying Father Krishna, but I'm thinking it is Ma Kali. So he said, Father Krishna. And then finally he said, anyway, Prabhu, what can I say? It is all the will of Allah. So,
by the way, my will of Allah is God.
Yes. Allah, 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 Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Sometimes Gurudev, he heard all that chanting in his channel, he'd go, Allahu Akbar.